First, Dunkirk, May to June 1940. Fog and calm saved 338,000 soldiers. May 26, 1940. Northern France. The German blitzkrieg did its job. The British Expeditionary Force and French units are pinned to the English Channel at the small port city of Dunkirk. Behind them, the sea. Ahead, the Wehrmacht. From the air, the Luftwaffe with total supremacy in the sky. The commander of the British forces, General Gort, requests an evacuation. The Admiralty responds. It is possible to save no more than 45,000 people. For the rest, captivity or death. Then the weather arrived. Heavy rains pinned the German aviation to the ground for several critical days. Low cloud cover made accurate bombing impossible. A light swell and fog over the English Channel, what sailors call English weather, allowed hundreds of small vessels to approach the shore unnoticed and without dangerous waves. Fishing boats, pleasure yachts, ferries, water buses, everything that could stay afloat and take people on board. From May 26th to June 4th, 1940, 338,226 people, British and French soldiers, were evacuated from Dunkirk. Churchill called it a miracle of deliverance. When the evacuation concluded, the weather improved. German planes returned to the sky, but the shore was already empty. If the English Channel had been calm and clear from day one, the Luftwaffe would have destroyed the ships one by one. 3/4 of the British professional army would have remained in French captivity. Without it, there would be no one to defend Britain. Without Britain, the history of the Second World War would look different. One fog over the English Channel. 338,000 lives. Second, D-Day, June 6, 1944. One meteorologist found a window in the storm and won the war. May 1944. Headquarters of Operation Overlord. Eisenhower and his generals look at the maps and wait. The Normandy landings, the largest amphibious operation in history, require several weather conditions to align simultaneously. Wind no stronger than 15 knots. Waves no higher than 1.5 meters. Visibility sufficient for aviation. The moon in the right phase for nighttime paratroopers. Low tide at dawn for the landing. Such a combination is rare. The planned date, June 5th. On June 4th, the Allied meteorological team reported, June 5th, a storm. Postpone. Eisenhower postponed. He could have postponed to June 19th, the next window of suitable tides. The chief Allied meteorologist, Scotsman James Stagg, studied data from weather stations across the Atlantic coast and discovered, on June 6th, there would be a brief break, 24 to 36 hours of improvement before the next storm arrives. Eisenhower made the decision. We go on June 6th. The German chief meteorologist, Karl Lettau, was studying the same Atlantic data at the same time, and he came to a different conclusion. The coming days are unsuitable for a landing. No invasion will happen. Rommel left for Germany for his wife's birthday. Many officers of the High Command left for exercises. On June 6, 1944, 156,000 Allied soldiers landed in Normandy. Later it turned out, if the landing had been postponed to June 19th, as Eisenhower planned in case of cancellation, then on exactly June 19th, a storm hit the English Channel, the likes of which had not been seen for several decades. One eyewitness later said, "If they had gone on the 19th, I doubt many landing craft would have made it to the shore at all." One meteorologist found a window of 2 days. One German meteorologist did not. The difference determined the outcome of the war. Third, the Ardennes. December 1944 to January 1945. The fog gave Hitler 10 days, then the sky cleared. December 16, 1944. Germany threw 250,000 soldiers and 600 tanks into a final offensive through the Ardennes forests. The Ardennes Offensive, Watch on the Rhine, was the last attempt to split the Allied front. The German command did not choose the moment by accident. Luftwaffe meteorologists predicted a period of bad weather, fog, low clouds, snowfalls. Exactly what pinned the Allied aviation to the ground, which had overwhelming supremacy in the sky. Without air support, the Allies would be forced to fight only with ground forces. For 10 days, German tanks moved forward under the cover of clouds. They surrounded Bastogne with its American garrison. They created a threat of breaking through to the ports of Antwerp. On December 23, 1944, the sky cleared. Within the next 24 hours, Allied aviation launched thousands of sorties against German supply columns, crossings, and concentrations of equipment. Without fuel and ammunition, the offensive instantly lost momentum. By December 27th, the advance of German troops stopped. Patton broke the ring around Bastogne. By mid-January, German units retreated to their initial positions. Price of 10 days of fog, about 75,000 American casualties killed, wounded, and captured. The heaviest losses in a single operation in all of American military history. German losses were comparable. And the total exhaustion of the last reserves that could have been used differently. The weather gave Hitler a 10-day chance. The weather also took it away. Write in the comments, which of the first 3 stories seems the most incredible to you? The fog that saved Dunkirk? The meteorologist who found a window for D-Day? Or the clear sky that stopped the last German offensive? 4th, the Battle of Moscow. October to December 1941. Mud and frost stopped the blitzkrieg at the gates of the capital. Operation Typhoon, the German offensive on Moscow, began on October 2, 1941. By this point, the Wehrmacht had covered thousands of kilometers in 3 months. It seemed one more push and the capital would fall. Then came the Rasputitsa, a Russian word that literally means bad roads. October and November in central Russia is a period when autumn rains turn dirt roads into an impassable swamp. Not mud, a swamp. Wheeled vehicles sank up to their axles. Tracked vehicles lost speed down to a few kilometers per hour. Tractors got stuck trying to pull out bogged-down tanks. The supply of German armies, fuel, ammunition, food, almost stopped. Columns of trucks stretched for hundreds of kilometers in liquid mud. This gave the Soviet command time to transfer reserves, to bring up Siberian divisions, to strengthen defenses. Then in November, frost struck, -35 to 40 degrees Celsius. German equipment was not ready for such temperatures. Lubricating oils thickened. Engines would not start. Mechanisms jammed. Soviet equipment faced the same problem. But Soviet soldiers received winter uniforms. German ones did not. Berlin planned to end the war before winter. Winter gear was not prepared. German soldiers wrapped themselves in civilian clothes taken from Soviet villagers, wrapped their feet in newspapers, died from frostbite by the thousands. On December 5, 1941, Soviet troops launched a counteroffensive. Fresh Siberian divisions in white winter camouflage moved forward through the very snow that paralyzed German equipment. Moscow held. Typhoon choked in autumn mud and winter frost, not in Soviet bayonets. 5th, Typhoon Cobra, December 1944. The American fleet sank itself in a storm. December 17, 1944, the Philippine Sea. The Third Fleet of the United States, under the command of Admiral Halsey, 93 ships, was preparing for air support of operations on Luzon. The Naval Meteorological Service predicted a tropical storm, but inaccurately determined its trajectory. Halsey decided to remain on position. On December 18th, Typhoon Cobra, with winds exceeding 100 knots and waves up to 18 meters high, battered the fleet. 3 destroyers, USS Hull, USS Monaghan, and USS Spence capsized and sank. 790 American sailors died. Another 146 planes were destroyed or damaged. 9 ships received serious damage. All this not in battle with the Japanese fleet, in a storm, from their own bad weather. The investigation established the meteorological support of the fleet was insufficient. Admiral Halsey received an official warning from the command, mild but formal. A second time he got caught in a typhoon in June 1945, again with losses. The Japanese did not lose a single ship that day. The United States lost 3 to atmospheric pressure and seawater. The Naval Meteorological Service was completely reorganized. The modern weather forecasting system for the fleet is a direct consequence of this disaster. 6th, the Soviet-Finnish War. Winter 1939 to 1940. A frost of -40 killed the Soviet offensive faster than Finnish bullets. November 30th, 1939. The Soviet Union attacks Finland. The Red Army has an overwhelming numerical advantage. 450,000 soldiers against 300,000 Finnish. Thousands of tanks against a few hundred. Aviation against aviation. Stalin's calculation: 2 to 3 weeks and Finland capitulates. Then came the Finnish winter. January 1940 was one of the coldest in decades. -40 was the standard night temperature in Karelia. Soviet units, many of which were transferred from southern regions, were not prepared. Without proper winter gear, without experience in combat actions under such conditions, without the ability to camouflage in the snow, Finnish ski detachments in white winter camouflage moved through the forests quickly and silently. They attacked Soviet columns on the roads, the only places where Soviet equipment could move, and dissolved into the darkness between the trees. Soviet units huddled in columns on the roads, lit bonfires, otherwise you freeze. A bonfire is visible from afar. Finnish snipers and machine gunners shot at the illuminated positions from the darkness of the forest. White Death. Finnish sniper Simo Hauha, in 3 months of war, destroyed, according to various confirmed data, more than 100 Soviet soldiers. He hid in the snow, did not use an optical sight so as not to give a glint, packed his mouth with snow so there would be no steam from his breath. During the Winter War, 105 days, the Soviet Union lost, according to various estimates, from 125,000 to 170,000 killed. Finland, about 25,000. Ultimately, Soviet superiority in equipment and people broke Finnish resistance. A peace treaty was signed in March 1940. Finland lost part of its territories, but the loss ratio shocked military observers around the world. Hitler watched the Winter War and concluded, "The Red Army is helpless." This conclusion accelerated his decision to attack the Soviet Union in 1941. The Finnish frost killed not only Soviet soldiers, it killed German respect for Soviet military power, which ultimately led to 1941 and to that war which Germany could not win. 6 battles, 6 weather phenomena. What do all 6 have in common? None of these weather situations was a surprise in an absolute sense. Meteorologists always knew that winter is cold, that storms occur in the English Channel, that there is fog in the Ardennes in December. The difference between victory and defeat in each case was determined by one thing: who prepared better for the weather that was expected, and who used it when it arrived. Nature does not choose whose side to take. It just does what it does. And armies get what they deserve by their readiness. Write in the comments, which of the 6 stories surprised you the most? And subscribe. There are many more stories ahead about how circumstances decide more than plans.